I, Susan Thompson, do solemnly promise and declare, do solemnly promise and declare.
Oh my God, I'm young.
How young are you?
I'm 45. 45. Wow. Yeah.
Do you remember what you're feeling in that moment?
A huge responsibility. A huge responsibility. Bill Norrie putting the chain of office on. It was a wonderful tradition. Oh, little kiss.
This is your swearing in ceremony.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see that I'm,
Nervous? Is that nerves? Is that what you're going to say?
It is nerves. It's being overwhelmed. It's the enormity of the responsibility has hit.
You were immediately treated differently on the job, even including on Inauguration Day.
Yes.
Can you give us some examples of that, and also when you might have realized that?
You have to understand, when I became mayor, not one of my 15 council members supported me. There was a bet on that between the city councillors, the union, the administration, everybody again but the citizens of Winnipeg, they were going to make my life so miserable that they were going to get me to quit before the end of my first term so that they could get who they wanted. That, welcome to the dirty side.
From your point of view, do you think there's a difference in the way that women lead versus how men lead?
Absolutely. Men have a club. I don't think I was ever let in.
And actually, quite literally, they had their club or clubs. Is it true that when you were mayor, or around that time when you were running as well, that despite that, you still weren't allowed in many of those clubs?
Oh, when I was running as mayor, I was invited to lunch at the Manitoba Club and told I had to go in the side door. And I simply looked at the man who was inviting me for lunch and went, I am going in the front door. I don't care what the rules are. I don't do side doors. And I went in the front door, and it was just before I became mayor in October of '92, they changed the rules so that women could go in the front door. Really? Marcy, go in the side door because you're a woman.
What made you run? When you ran, was the thought of being the first there already?
No, it was a calling. Again, I will share with people, in your lifetime, every once in a while you get that aha moment.
Yeah, you have a feeling.
And it's a calling. And then when I actually formed my campaign team and the two co-chairs, again, everybody asks you the question, why are you doing this? And I would go, oh, well, it's my destiny. And my co-chairs looked at me and said, don't you ever say that publicly. And I went, but let me try to explain to you. It's meant to be. They went, park it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
You're still, though, the only woman to ever be Winnipeg's mayor. Why do you think that is?
When I'm asked, what are still the barriers?
Hi, Susan. Welcome.
I absolutely have to say it's still the men. Because where are the men in the various very powerful corporations standing up and saying, we will have 50% representation on our boards because we know that's good business? Where are the men in the various cultural communities? The men in the various cultural communities going, we welcome women leaderships into our culture. Where are those men who control all this power and all this money standing up and saying that?
And what do women say to you about why they aren't running, beyond COVID even?
I would say the protection of the family. A lot of the women don't want to expose their families and their children to the barrage of criticism and social media and all of that.
30 years later, is still the one and only woman to lead this city. What do you think your legacy is?
Exactly that I did try to break the glass ceiling, but I think, Marcy, most importantly, I helped change the culture. You can't shift society unless the culture shifts. And the culture up until that point was clearly white male model. And every time I turned, it was like banging into a wall.
What's next for you now, Susan Thompson?
Well, hopefully book number 2. And then, you know, now that I'm 75, I'm reflecting on the fact of we need to value our elders more. And so I hope there's some way that I can influence levels of government or corporations, et cetera, to have the 75 plus women's advisory group to share with them how change can happen, what cultures they need in their organizations, and to draw upon our experience and knowledge, and don't put us out to pasture. I don't even know what a pasture looks like.
Real pleasure, and congratulations on 30 years later.
Thank you very much.